I was thinking about the whole timeline of after Bryan Kohberger supposedly left the Idaho 4, 1122 King Road home, and the route that we were talking about this last week, the cell phone towers, and you were showing the gaps in coverage. Looking at that map, I was like really curious, what roads are these that they're showing? Because there's no names of roads on the map that Brett Payne provided in Exhibit A statement of Brett Payne, the probable cause affidavit for this case. There's no road names. And another thing that's weird to me is that they have like, is that blue thing supposed to be a tower, or is that it is?
I think so. Yes, I do.
So where's the King Road home then?
Right in that area.
Okay, because they don't show, like, they give us a very general outline of a route, but they don't show, like, this isn't actually the route. It isn't. Because when I pull up that route, okay, and taking the information provided in the PCA, it says exactly that after he left the house, he exited the neighborhood via Walinta Drive. Okay, so if you're leaving the home, you would go straight down Queen Road, and hopefully it'll be up here on the screen for you guys. But if you're an audio listener, I'll tell you the street names. So you would be going down Queen Road, then you would take a right on King Road, a left on Walinta, make this little loop around, and then kind of make a left turn to stay on Walinta, and then you would turn right on Sunnyside Avenue, and then make another right on Conestoga Street, which is also in the PCA. They say he leaves via Walinta and goes Walinta, and then goes to Conestoga Street. And you would follow that around till you get to Palouse River Drive. And then from Palouse River Drive, you would turn right on Main Street. Main Street turns into I-95, which heads straight down, just like we see in that picture. It shows going straight down. And that's headed towards like the Clarkston, Lewiston area. But in this map, he didn't go all the way to Clarkston, Lewiston area that night. He ends up making a right-hand turn on a little road. And what I think it is, because I was looking at the shape of the roads in that area and trying to make it look as close as possible to the map that they're showing here.
Okay.
So what I think it is it's a little road called Borgen Road. And it passes this place called the Historic Cambish Family Century Farm, which is closed right now. And then he would turn on a road called Thorn Creek Road and go down to a town called Uniontown, where he would turn right onto 195.
Okay.
And that is when he would start going north towards Pullman. And once he starts going north towards Pullman, he would come to a little town called, Colton. Keep following 195 up until he gets to Chambers, and then he gets off on Staley Road, which passes an airport called Staley Airport.
Okay.
And then he would follow that road around to Johnson Road. And this is where it begins to line back up with the actual statements in the PCA, because he would follow Johnson Road all the way up through Busby into Pullman. And because Johnson Road goes all the way into Pullman, like you take it all the way in until you get to East Main Street. And then he would take Northeast Stadium Way, and then turn on Northeast Orchard Drive, and then Northeast Valley Road, and then Northeast Merman Drive to Garden Avenue, and he would turn into the Steptoe Apartments.
Interesting. I didn't realize those side streets. I wonder if during editing I'll put an overlay of 2 maps.
Well, I have these maps here, and I have the route. I saved it in maps and sent you the whole thing because I mapped the whole thing out.
Awesome.
And I was gonna take a screen recording so you could attach it too of going through it, but maybe we could just do screenshots. I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting because they allege that this route would have made him avoid cameras.
Really?
That's what they say. But he didn't. He got caught on cameras.
Yeah, where does it say that?
That it says that in the PCA that they believe he took this route to avoid cameras.
Oh.
CCTV. Okay. That this route would avoid cameras. But it doesn't. He got caught on cameras going out of the neighborhood or out of the neighborhood he literally went to Main Street in both towns where you are caught on cameras. Also,
I think that's good. Jeez, that's good evidence because
yeah. Also, it's an hour. So this exact route is an hour and 8 minutes. At least that's what my maps is saying. Okay. An hour and 8 minutes literally lines up perfectly for him taking that route and making no stops at all.
Okay.
With the PCA timeline. Perfectly.
Really?
Perfectly. Yeah.
So no stops, an hour 8.
So he arrived home at 5:30 a.m. and he left at 4:20. An hour and 8 minutes. An hour and 10 minutes. Rounded up to an hour and 10 minutes. Okay. Like that's literally a 2-minute difference. He would have had to make literally like a 2-minute stop. But anything could have happened. It was winter. There was snow. Like
yeah.
It is literally on the dot perfect.
So there's not much time to hide evidence.
No, unless he's literally driving down the road, chucking stuff out the window. No, he didn't have time to go bury a hole. No way. Unless this is what came to mind after I figured that out. I was like, okay, they're saying they know he left the home at 4:20, and they know based off camera footage, he arrived home at 5:30 in Pullman. And that, like I said, this exact route, which you guys are going to see the map that I routed, it is to the T perfect. An hour and 8 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes is what they're saying. So, unless we're going to say Bryan Kohberger is like the Flash and can hide evidence and bury a hole in literally 2 minutes after murdering 4 people brutally with one of the most horrific bloody crime scenes there could be, and get home and leave no blood in the car, no blood in his apartment. I don't understand how that's not super significant to everyone, because they then say, despite being home at 5:30, in the morning, that he must have not slept, you guys, because he left at 9 a.m. the next morning. He was only home for 3.5 hours, so he had to get rid of all of that blood evidence in 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours, and then leave house and be gone all day long. And didn't sleep. A wink. Not a wink.
Strange.
And then he goes back down to what we know, from the PCA. He supposedly went to Albertsons. And then when he's driving back up home, they say his phone turns off around Johnson, Washington. And it's off, supposedly it's off till like 8:30 p.m. for like 3 hours.
Okay.
And then he's back up in Pullman.
So strange. They better have good video footage and cameras, CCTV.
I mean, that's why I'm wondering if they made because we all know the most detailed part of the PCA is literally him at Albertsons.
Yeah.
And Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand.
It is.
That is the most detailed and actually showing what they have. Okay, we have this and this cell phone tower and video footage of him doing this. It is the most detailed and backed up with evidence part of the PCA. Hands down. Hands down. Did they make such a big deal of that because they knew it wasn't possible for him to get rid of evidence during that time? So they're trying to say he did it on his way to Albertsons and back. Like, that's the important time frame. But we got to remember that he still didn't leave any evidence in the car or the home, his apartment. Now, the no shower curtain, I actually can see why that's kind of damning. If we're talking, because if I committed a crime like that and then I went and showered at home, I would get rid of my shower curtain and bleach the entire bathroom. A shower curtain would definitely have evidence on it after rinsing a bunch of blood off of you and cleaning everything in there. Yeah. Are they thinking he took all that stuff home, wrapped it in his shower curtain after taking a shower, and then went and buried it somewhere after going to Albertsons? I want to know what he bought at Albertsons. Does Albertsons even carry a shovel?
I don't know. But isn't the current story that he bought cleaning supplies?
No, we don't know what he bought. People say stuff like that, but we don't know what he bought. They didn't say what he bought. That's what people want to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really don't know that. Yeah, this timeline is so tight. It is so incredibly tight until the next day after he goes to Albertsons. And it makes you question, like, okay, when they lost him on the cell phone towers, at like, I think it was like 5-something p.m., 5:30 p.m. till 8:30, was it him just literally losing service or his phone dying?
Gosh, that's such a hard one because we know that
the service
trained
sucks.
in in technology, in cloud-based forensics, in cell phone related forensics, and he would know better. He would and or should know better. So it makes it so hard that they're leaning on that, right?
It does make it hard because if he's so well trained in it, then you would know that turning your phone off between Johnson, Idaho, or Johnson, Washington, and Pullman, and then just being in Pullman, they're going to think it's in between the area of Johnson, Washington, and Pullman, in that area. And they're going to go look there immediately.
Which they should. I think they should.
There's no indication that they have. There's no indication that they have looked there.
Yeah, it's strange and it's interesting, and it makes me need to understand why. I need to understand why. you know, what's that type of investigation called again? I can never remember the name of it that you covered.
Which one?
The starts with a C.
Wait, where did it take place?
We did a video on it.
Okay, we've done a lot of videos on a lot of things.
I understand that, but you did a video on it that talks about an investigation, a secret investigation.
Parallel construction.
Parallel construction. Yep. Investigation. It makes me wonder immediately if that is what we're seeing here. And that's what the PCA is about, because they felt like they had to catch this guy, right? And I'm playing the Kohbergers guilty side of the equation right now. But did they use tools without any regard to public data control and public safety of information, and figure out he did it, but now can't be honest about it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
The shower curtain doesn't weird me out because shower curtains are gross in general. And if he is a clean freak, I don't feel weird about him taking his shower curtain and either throwing it away or taking it out while he's leaving. He was leaving for a couple weeks.
I understand that, and I agree with you. I think that it can go either way, 100%. Yeah. I think it could go either way. It's not a strong indicator of anything really for me because it could go either way, but I could see the argument for it being for a bad reason, you know? But yeah, he supposedly leaves at 9 a.m., goes back to the King Road residence, apparently. And then at like noon, he's at Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I
mean, after that little of sleep, I would probably need some coffee too.
Yeah. Probably, but most people drink coffee every day, and once you start, you can't just stop, or else you get a headache.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to be honest, that little of sleep is not that big of a deal. I'm more curious when he went to sleep. Did he go to sleep at 7 p.m. and then wake up and not be able to sleep through the rest of the night at like 10 p.m., you know?
Yeah, I want to know what he was doing the day before the crime. That's really interesting information for me personally.
Yeah, me too.
But it's not talked about whatsoever. But yeah, it says between... Additional analysis of the phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 and 5:36 p.m., it was utilizing cellular resources that provided coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 to 8:30 p.m. It's consistent with the 8458 phone being in the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred. So basically what they're saying is he traveled this area just way early in the wee hours after the crime, and then his phone gets turned off the next day for 3 hours in that same area. But again, that timeline is so tight from the early wee morning hours.
Yeah.
That it's like it doesn't even matter. He literally would have to stop for like a minute.
Yeah.
And plant something somewhere and then come back the next day.
I think the only way to be able to do it would be like in a body of water with some kind of weight.
Which there is
passing, like
there is Snake River in the Lewiston Clarkston area.
Yeah.
So people have been talking about that. I mean, you know, Crime Circus was like, let's go magnet fishing out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is speculation that could go both ways. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just know that I don't believe.
But it's not Johnson, Idaho.
Storyline.
It's Washington, Johnson, Washington, by the way.
That's what I know, is I do not believe the current storyline. Do I Do I think it could be a completely separate story and the police, based off a lazy investigation that we've seen, some mistakes that we've seen, maybe some bad choices in the way that wording was done and everything, is that an indicator that there are some lazy aspects to this investigation, and trying to put it on him in this way is just them not doing a full investigation up front, honest,
Well,
checking everything? I don't know.
You know what's interesting is my question immediately after they say that the phone turned back on at 8:30 or started reporting to the network at 8:30 p.m. It doesn't say where he is at 8:30 p.m.
You know that they have his phone. That's one area of the PCA that makes sense, right? Where they say that his phone stopped reporting to the network. They're right in doing that, okay? But what's interesting is once they arrested him and got his phone, they'll be able to tell you for sure if he turned it off or not. You can get a list of the commands made at those times. So they'll be able to know if he powered off or if it disconnected.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting.
But in the same respect, how much does it matter if he did turn it off?
It doesn't. It'll just add to the story in the PCA that
he turned it off to avoid detection.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. So, no, I think this is really interesting. I didn't realize that based on the PCA's own time frame, he didn't have any time to stop.
None. He had no time to hide evidence or clean up anything.
So this
until
idea,
he got home. Like, that's why Blaker said that he went immediately home and there has to be blood in that house.
So
because he had no time to do anything else.
So this idea that he drove away from 1122 and parked at the river and washed off in the river is not possible.
It's not.
Okay.
Not with this route that they're alleging, which who knows how accurate it is considering there's no camera footage and the cell phone towers are weak evidence.
Yep.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
All I know is that they say he went down that area, and if he did, it is like over an hour drive, and he got home an hour later after that time that they claim he was speeding out of the neighborhood.
That's good.
I don't know. Based off this information, I'd be super curious to hear what you guys think about it. My head is honestly still kind of spinning. I'm not 100% sure what I think about it. I just know that if Bryan Kohberger is guilty of this crime, he's Houdini. Like, he had no time to clean up. And he passed nothing to the car or his apartment, which is literally an act of magic.
Yeah.
Sorcery.
So playing the Bryan Kohberger's guilty card here, it could be both things. It could be that the cops did a really bad job and he knew what he was doing, which is going to make things 10 times worse, unfortunately.
Yeah. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, theories, suggestions, anything to add to this. Definitely let me know.
It's interesting.